cheers for agreeing to do the podcast. We kind of
That's
do intros separate. This is us rolling. We'll just keep going in the same kind of vein. But introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Yeah. So Matt Loughrey, career hotelier, I suppose, until about 12 months ago. Now working as partnerships manager for the Burnt Chef project. So obviously still supporting hospitality. Father of 3 as of February this year. So
congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, third and final, job's done. But yeah, just now get a little bit more time for myself, obviously with the kids around, versus say 12 months ago. And it's great being part of the project for the last sort of 4 to 5 years, and now obviously working with businesses in our beautiful industry to try and make it a little bit healthier, as well as come to see fine people like yourselves. So thank you for having me.
Very kind.
No, good to have you on. It's a project. It's a podcast we wanted to do a while with someone from Bird Chef, and then when we I think we kind of got speaking online, didn't we?
Yeah, Instagram, I think it was.
Yeah, and then
exchanges. Yeah.
It was like a mutual friendship built up, and I was like, right, this is a good one to get now.
Yeah,
we've kind of charmed him. We'll get him on. Where did you grow up? Was it around Birmingham or?
Yeah, so not too far from where we are today in Coleshill. So
Nice.
my parents would say it's in Warwickshire, but it's got a big postcode. So, and obviously I've got the accent. So yeah, Birmingham lad, born and bred. And I've tried to leave a couple of times, and something keeps bringing me back. To be honest, so yeah.
Yeah, I deeply offended someone this morning because I class everywhere as Greater Birmingham.
Keeps doing it.
Yeah.
Keep getting us in trouble.
I didn't realise the guy that was doing the camera work this morning was from the Black Country. So when I was like, Dudley, Wolvo, it's all Greater Birmingham. Right? Yeah, I'm going Manchester style. I'm taking the whole lot.
Me and my wife have a long running joke with each other because she grew up in Solihull.
Oh,
I'm like, so you grew up in Birmingham? You had a B postcode. You've got an 0121 dialing code.
We have it. We live in Shirley, which is in Solihull.
Yeah.
And I've lived in Solihull and in Shirley. I'm in Birmingham and Shirley on and off in between the two. And you've lived in Birmingham, now you live in Shirley.
Yeah.
It doesn't it's like one road. You could be in one or the other. Like
no, literally, I grew up literally like a road away from, I think, Solihull. Like 2 roads.
Yeah. That's where we live now. The other side of the crossroads to us is classed as Solihull.
Yeah.
So I always joke that we've got the nicer view. But in reality, we both see the same car crashes on the same crossroads. You know. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But there we go.
You can always think you can tell the difference because if you say Solihull, that means you're a Brummie, and if you say Solihull, that means you're from Solihull.
I'll ask the missus when I get home and see
which one she says.
Yeah.
Where do you think you're from again?
So what was Birmingham like growing up? I'm guessing we're a similar kind of age. Maybe you're a little bit younger.
35?
Yeah, not far.
A lot younger?
Not that much younger.
Than me.
I'm 39. So
42,
we all look the same age.
Yeah, we're roughly the same age. We've got a similar experience. We managed to get a little bit of the 90s and a little bit of the noughties. Yeah. What was it like growing up?
Yeah, good. I had a really sort of positive upbringing. My dad worked in Birmingham city centre throughout all of my childhood and into my teens and 20s, and used to head up the Birmingham Stock Exchange. So I was very lucky that I get to go into town and eat in some nice places when we were growing up. And yeah, just so I suppose being on the outskirts means I had the best of both worlds. So we could travel into town, especially sort of like 16, 17, 18, that sort of age where you're first going out. So access to Broad Street, access to Solihull, but at the same time, being able to escape it back to a nice little suburb and then being able to have country walks on a Sunday morning. So I've loved it, to be honest. And I wouldn't change the sort of childhood that I had for anything. And again, like sort of growing up throughout all of the sort of kids' holidays and 6 weeks holidays, my nan had a caravan in Burnham-on-Sea. So it's like an hour and 20 minutes away. And I used to spend weeks on end down there. And I love my nan to bits, but she wasn't the best supervisor. So we sort of just had free reign to go and do whatever we wanted to do as kids down there, which is like the best childhood you could ask for, isn't it? So, yeah.
Freedom, that's all you want as a kid, isn't
that's it?
Until you get it and you're like, oh, shut the fuck, I'm going to do now.
Yeah. Talking about food today, we need to leave my nan there because she is as like British as they ever came. Like meat and 2 veg, and that's it. And I remember one year in Burnham-on-Sea, there was a curry house and a Chinese opened in the same year.
Yeah.
And obviously coming from this area, you think like we're quite eclectic, aren't we, with the foods that we have available to us. I remember going down there with my sister saying, "Nan, do you want to go and get a Chinese?" And she was like, "Oh no, I don't want none of that. I just want my cottage pie." So, yeah.
I never had a curry till I was like 15, like, because
Really?
both my parents were like proper Irish, like fresh off the boat Irish, and that's all we grew up on was just meat. And I mean, it was great food. I'm not gonna moan. We never ate out the freezer or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there was not much variety. We had the same 5 meals like every
Monday
week,
to Friday.
We had Chinese because it was literally when I crossed the road, so it was like they ventured that far. But a curry, that was just out of the question. It was too exotic.
I was lucky. I grew up eating curry.
Yeah,
The old Oasis Curry House in Shirley.
I feel like the first one I had was at your house.
Probably was,
because me and Carl grew up as mates. Like I was best mates with his brother in school, and I used to spend loads of time around there. Actually, like second home to me.
Probably was the first place.
I feel like that was the first place I had a curry.
I think it's like
gave us a can of beer as well, like to share.
You got to have beer. You've got to have a beer with curry, though, ain't you?
We'll top each half up with a bit of lemonade. You get
have a glass of Foster's or something each.
Can of shandy bass. You can't get shandy bass.
No, can't get that anywhere. No.
That was great. I used to love that.
I had moonshine. Moonshine was like what was it? Summerfield, was it? That old supermarket.
Yeah,
Summerfield rip-off of Smirnoff Ice. But it came in these like 2-litre bottles, so you only needed one at the age of 18.
Yeah,
you were having a great time.
So how did you get into hospitality? Was food a big part of your life growing up, or?
I don't think necessarily growing up, but I think it's something that because I was sort of exposed to different cuisines growing up. Like again, very lucky to travel the world, and we went to places like Australia and Hong Kong and Singapore, like when we were kids. So when you're over there, there's not meat and 2 veg. There's other foods that you have to try, and therefore I just think it sort of broadened our view on different foods to try. And then like the last 20 years in Birmingham, 15 years or so, there's just been like this food explosion, hasn't there, where we've got so many different options now, along with things like Deliveroo coming along and Uber Eats. It's just so much more accessible. So yeah, it was I suppose a big part of my life in my 20s, where you're sort of trying to navigate the way through your career. You get your missus and you settle down, and then because you've got your own money, you decide what to do with your own money. And ours was always on good food, whether it's curry, Chinese or otherwise.
Yeah.
We used to be a big fan. Years ago, there was a restaurant in Touchwood called Mogo's. I don't know if you ever ate there. But it was like an African style restaurant.
Yeah, upstairs was it?
Upstairs, yeah. It wasn't too dissimilar to Nando's, to be honest. But they had,
I remember it.
Yeah, but they had a Kalahari sweet chili chicken, which is unlike anything else like you've ever eaten. And then sadly it closed down. Not sure what reason for, but the food in there was really good. And that was a solid 3 years of our sort of 20s, just every weekend going to Touchwood and eating Mogo's of some description. But yeah. And then more recently, sort of COVID was a bit of a catalyst. So I was furloughed, like so many people were, and started off doing a food blog called The Chubby Brummie, which now is, as you know, is my Instagram tag. So the food blog sort of died off when I got back into work post-COVID, but through that sort of summer, a little bit like what we're doing now is just interviewing chefs, asking them about their upbringing, their journey of food, their favourite dishes, what they were doing through COVID. Just trying to keep active through that summer and sort of shine a light on some chefs that I knew. And yeah, like all the hotels. So traditionally I'm a hotel manager and I've never been a chef.
Yeah.
But I sort of gravitated more towards that food and beverage side of the operation. And so you naturally get to see chefs from all walks of life going through hotel kitchens, various hotels that I've worked at. And it's always an area that I've sort of wanted to dabble in, whether it's flipping a pizza or I don't know, like scooping a bit of ice cream for dessert. I think it's just something I've got a passion for, to be honest. Eating good food, seeing good food, talking about good food.
So where was your first job?
Started my career at Marriott Forest of Arden.
For a second, I thought you said the other Marriott in town.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told the story a lot of time, but that I wanted to go there, train as a chef, and like this will lead on to where this podcast is about to go to. But I realised that Karen bent over backwards to get me this job in there. And after about 2 days, I think the head chef found me in the walk-in fridge crying my eyes out. It took me to Karen. I was like, I know you've got me this job, but I definitely can't do it. I need to go. She's like, yeah, it's fine. It happens.
Yeah, no, it does happen. but it's good, obviously, in your situation that you sort of quickly identified that and obviously were able to move on to something.
Yeah. I'll tell you what it was. And I said this to Glyn as well a few weeks ago. It wasn't so much like the intensity of it, fine. How hard it was, fine. It was, I think, a little bit imposter syndrome in that, or it might not be imposter. It's like when things were real bad, when you're in the middle of a terrible service, 2 people have called in sick hungover, and it's just a nightmare, and it's really busy. But the people around me, they wouldn't have been anywhere else. I could see in their eyes, they loved it. They absolutely lived for it. And I was just like, oh my God, this is hell. And I just knew that's it. I'm done. This isn't for me. Like the hard work I can deal with, everything else, fine. But just, I don't have that passion for it. Like I thought I did, but I obviously do not, because these guys are loving it.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that we sort of look at, or I sort of look at in the people that we go talking to, whether it's delivering a sort of formal talk, or when we're just out and about and people want to talk about Burnt Chef and what we do and so on, is everyone's an individual. So there's like no one size fits all in terms of how we can support or the struggles that people face. Like we're all individuals. And I had a chat with a chef just last week, actually, and we were talking about sort of pressures in the kitchen. So like those guys who absolutely thrive off pressure. And he had the example he used was, he had a head chef who would come along and taste the stock that he'd made. Wouldn't say a single word. He'd just lift the stock up and pour it down the drain. And he said, that made me a better chef. I was like, made you a better chef. But you know, the guy next to you spent 6 hours alongside you making that. He's the guy in the fridge crying.
That would be me in the fridge crying again,
So it's interesting, isn't it? And different people. And again, chefs in particular, you put them in a hotel kitchen and they'll thrive. You put them in a fine dining kitchen and they crumble, or vice versa. And obviously there's things like contract catering and schools and everything else that chefs can go into. There's so many different variables. That's no doubt you would have found your place as a chef.
I think I was a bit older at that point. I mean, by then I was like 22, and you know, you feel kind of old at that point. You know, you're too old to go back to college. I feel like if I'd just stuck to my guns and done it straight from college, like I probably should have. But it's different now as well. You know, like, I feel like we're really jumping ahead in the podcast, but kitchens have changed so much. It seems absurd saying this now, like, because you'd be just like, well, why didn't you just go and try somewhere else? But like at the time, it felt like most places was like that.
Everywhere.
So it was like,
and I think there has been this sort of emergence, hasn't there, of chefs going off and doing their own thing. Like yesterday at that Tough Mudder event that we were at, there were loads of different food vans. And again, I'm wearing a Burnt Chef hoodie, so I'm walking around. And one of the guys sort of flagged me down and said, do you sort of do any work with them? I said, well, I actually work for them. And we had a 20-minute conversation about the kitchens he's worked in. And he felt like he had to sort of branch off and be his own boss. And now he's way happier wrapping up Yorkshire pudding, which, by the way, was fantastic. But like a proper Sunday lunch in a Yorkshire pudding wrap. And serving that at different events, different venues that he gets to go to 5 times, 6 times a week. He said it's hard graft, but he's never been happier. But I suppose, you know, when we were all 22, 23, the food scene wasn't what it is now. And so, and especially social media isn't what it is now. And so, did we know those opportunities were out there? Were people so sort of confident to go and take that leap? Probably not.
20 years ago, food van, it was no street food, it was food van. And it was a burger and chips.
It was them ones outside.
Down the Blues, down the Villa, the Baggies, wherever.
Hot dog or a burger? Which one do you want?
Cuisine.
Take your choice.
Not knocking burgers and hot dogs.
No.
There's a place for them as well.
Yeah, even them, I'm still like, the Blues walk past, I'm like, fuck it, I'm getting one anyway.
So I kind of interrupted you there just as you got to the Forest. So that's where you started off.
I started my career at Forest of Arden. I was a conference and banqueting associate, as it was known then. basically a waiter, I suppose, and clearing down conference rooms. And the year sort of like when everyone leaves school and all your pals go off to uni, I had a place at uni down in Bournemouth looking at coastal and environmental management, which is basically waves crashing into the shore and making sure it doesn't kill humans. So I could have had a very different career. But I had like a minor sort of health thing going on at the time, which meant I didn't go to uni that summer when everybody else went. And so I just stayed and increased my hours eventually to full-time and just spent the next 12 months working full-time for Marriott. Did a couple of shifts at Birmingham Marriott as well. So you start to learn about different ways of working in the industry and meeting different people. Did a short stint at Hilton at the NEC for about 12 months. That's where I met my wife. And now, 20 years later, here we are, sort of, 16, 17 years later, here we are with 3 kids. So it's all worked out okay.
Yeah.
But that sort of journey through hotels, if you like, just introduced me to so many different people. And there's different businesses that I've worked for, both chained hotels, but also independents as well. I just feel like hospitality in general is just an industry where I think everybody should do public service for like a year or 2 years in hospitality, and society would be such a better place for it. You know, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to not complain about stupid stuff, and understanding the pressures that we all face day in, day out. You know, not always visible, but they're there.
Meeting a variety of different people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever worked in a bar, you know, you're kind of half therapist sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially at close down, when everyone else is leaving, you've got those 1 or 2 people left at the bar.
You don't want to go.
That's the last hour of your shift, isn't it?
Or even like I worked in a neighbourhood kind of boozer, just a locals place, and you know, you got old people that came in the daytime, and there was quiet. There was 3 or 4 people, and they came in for a bit of company. You know, they were sitting at home on their own, and they came in. They want to tell you their life stories.
Yeah.
You meet some really interesting people, but I think it gives you a bit more patience with people, a bit more empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say that. I'll say, you know, everyone should do a stint in hospitality.
Definitely.
It's life-changing, and it's great as well. I think it's rewarding. Some people are suited to it, some people aren't. But I feel like everyone could learn something from it.
Yeah, I think it's such a diversity. Like we were saying about the kitchens and different chefs, is you get extroverts that are usually front of house. So you think about your barman, like doing your cocktail shakers and so on. But then equally, there's other roles in there, like the finance team, the HR team, the procurement teams, all back of house. You can be introverted and still have a great career in hospitality. And I think to that note, like anyone could find a home within our industry. They just need to know when it's not right and be willing to sort of take that leap, I guess. Which is something I'm quite a big advocate for, is just know when things aren't right and don't stay there just for a paycheck or for a CV, length of service or whatever it might be. Is go and find that home. You get one life, just go and live it, you know.
Hotels are fairly tough places. I mean, like all the industry is quite tough. I feel like hotels, 24-hour operation.
Yeah.
Massive, busy, dinner, breakfast, lunch, walk-in, snacks, you know.
It's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it is literally a full-on operation. But I suppose that's the joy of it as well. Like some of I worked nights for like 4 to 5 years across a second stint at Marriott and also opening Drayton Manor Hotel, so not too far away. And some of the best stories that I've got from the industry have come from those night shifts where there's only 2 of you on and you've got 400 people in house. Yeah, I remember a time where, really looking back, I should have been dismissed. And Martin Wright, who was the GM at the time, had a stern word with me, but looked after me like any good GM would. And I'd basically, near Christmas, and I think like the 24th it would have been, so Christmas Eve, the front office manager at the time, myself as night manager and one of my night porters, front office manager had stayed behind, done a little bit of a handover with us, and say Merry Christmas. She goes, Matt, go into the kitchen, just make us a couple of burgers. You've had a really good year. And I went into the kitchen, cooked up these burgers, and we came out. We had a great Christmas celebration between us. And front office manager goes home, we go back to shift, all goes well. And then it was the 29th of December when we had Christmas sort of Christmas Wonderland or something like that it was called at Drayton Manor. So a bit between Christmas and New Year where the park gets busy again. And we had 330 odd people in house, men, women and children. And it was about 2:30 in the morning. And I had another night porter who'd been off on Christmas Eve. So he came back on shift. And I wanted to say Merry Christmas. So I said, the boss said the other day we can have a burger each. What would you like? He was like, I'll just have like a cheese and bacon burger or something. I said, no worries. So off I go down to the kitchen at 2:30 in the morning. And I cooked the exact same way I did three or four nights before. And put the ovens in, the burger in the oven, shut the door, go out for like 20 minutes, come back in, the burger's still cooking away, looks absolutely amazing. And I swing open the oven door and the whole kitchen fills with smoke. And literally like kicking open fire doors. I've got a metal tray in my hand trying to waft this smoke out the back door, like praying the fire alarm doesn't go off. And it all cleared. And I thought, I've dodged a bullet there. So I put this burger on a plate and I'm halfway back up to reception and the whole fire alarm goes off. And we had to do a full evacuation at like 3:30 in the morning, 330 people outside. And came back in. He still ate the burger, so he didn't go to waste. But boy, did I have some explaining to do that morning. But yeah, like full-time operation, and it's stories like that I sort of think, you'd never get that from working in an office. You go and be a lawyer, you'd never have a story like that.
No,
50 years of your career, you wouldn't.
Oh God.
So yeah.
Do you need to be able to speak different languages to be a manager of a hotel?
I definitely can't.
You've got Google Translate.
You were
on
hoping I had one then. Yeah.
Matt's like, well, it probably would have been helpful if I
I know a tiny bit of Thai, and the one thing I always remember in Thai is "Kung pu pasat and grit dai mai," which is, does anyone here speak English? And if everyone just looks at me blankly, I know not to speak to that crowd, and I'll go find someone who can. No, I've not. I think we're such a lucky industry that we get so many different nationalities coming into our industry that, I mean, in the hotels I've worked in, there's never been less than, say, 10 nationalities, whether it's in the housekeeping team, the kitchen, the front office team. And again, those individuals, while I might not know any other languages, there may be several who do. Yeah. I went to Venice not too long ago, and I went to the reception desk, like trying to sort of arrive and want to say hello in Italian, and then how can I please check in Italian? And she took one look at me, probably with like my English backpack on, and was like, "Good afternoon, sir." And I'm like, I didn't need to worry about Duolingo on the way over there. You knew I was coming, kind of thing. I think it's just part of being British, isn't it? Like, we expect everybody to sort of speak English. Yeah, I find like being a Brummie, people struggle with our dialect though.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. My wife works for British Airways, so we get to go abroad quite often. So when we were a bit younger, we used to, before the kids, used to go to Vegas quite a lot.
Oh,
My
nice.
best mate lived in Vegas, but throughout our 20s, obviously getting to go to Vegas, the locals are like, you're from Australia, aren't you? Yeah. I'm like, no. I wish I lived in Australia. I'm actually from a really exotic place called Birmingham.
So how did you get involved with Burnt Chef Project?
I a little bit like you, I suppose. I had sort of notifications popping up on LinkedIn or Instagram back in, it would have been start of 2020. And the project started, I think, April of the year before, so 2019. And at first it was a sort of photography campaign. So Chris, our founder, sort of went out and took photos of chefs that you knew and wanted to tell their story. And then obviously COVID came along, and that summer, so many people in our industry then needed more support than they've ever had before, through being furloughed or, skeletal teams, whatever it might have been. But particularly chefs, you think they're used to working 60, 70 hours a week, rightly or wrongly, now find themselves on a sofa with no brigade around them, no guests to serve. It's a complete shock to the system. So my sort of initial introduction was through that growth, I suppose, in 2020, throughout that summer, and seeing more and more things online. And sadly, towards the end of 2020, I lost one of my chefs to suicide. I'd moved on to a different business at the time, but obviously found out through mutual colleagues And I say this in all the sort of talks I do, he was the same age as me. He had 2 kids just like me at the time. And I used to go in and talk to him about football. We used to play football every now and then as well. And you'd never know that he was struggling with anything. He was always, throughout that summer when I was working on the skeletal team, at least for the first half of the COVID first window of furlough, he lived in. And we used to go around the sort of live-in block and we used to speak to him, and he'd always be the one cracking jokes and trying to sort of lift spirits among the live-in team. And they'd have like an hour a day to sort of go on their walks, wouldn't they, at the time when social distancing was in place. And you never know anything was up with him. And then to sort of get that news, it's just a shock. You know, at the time it was a shock to my system. And since then, I've had another 2 former colleagues do the same. Got this sort of mental health crisis that's being exacerbated by things like the cost of living and the increased cost of goods and you know, everything else. That if I could get involved with the project back at the end of 2020, start of 2021, and do my little bit that saves one more young man from feeling, or woman, from feeling that that's the only way out, then that was enough for me at the time. And then since then, sort of signed up as an ambassador. So I suppose as ambassadors, our roles are to educate the next generation of sort of talent coming through colleges. So we do a lot of college talks with the likes of UCB, Hales Owen, South and City colleges around our sort of local area. We educate businesses. So last week I was over at the Hilton Birmingham Metropole delivering a talk to their kitchen team there with one of our ambassadors, Mark. And then looking at like fundraising and overall awareness through things like socials and stuff like that. So that's how I first became involved. Was an ambassador for 3 to 4 years, and then start of 2024 was asked to step up to chief. So now I look after sort of the West Midlands, which is a massive region from sort of Tamworth across to the Welsh border and down to sort of Cheltenham, and then back up through sort of Stratford-upon-Avon to Cov. So that sort of circle is everything that I'm responsible for in terms of our ambassadors for the West Midlands.
How many ambassadors do you have in the West Midlands?
In the West Midlands, we have 15 now.
15.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've not too long ago, we had an application window, which are open every March and October. So we're still getting a few trickle through from that March window through the sort of interview process that we have internally.
Are you looking for more all the time? Because, you know, we have quite a lot of people in the industry who listen to this podcast. So
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I didn't mention, sort of, I suppose 4 months ago now, we actually only had a generic Midlands region, which encompassed sort of Nottinghamshire, Leicestershire, and all the way down to Northampton and Oxford. So we will split up those regions if we have to, depending on how many people we get in them. But yeah, I think there's no harm in having more people telling their story about struggles with mental health, whether it's their own lived experience or, you know, experiences that they've had in the kitchen and things they've seen, or front of house and the impact that guests screaming at receptionists, for example, might have had on that team that day. And I suppose then again, looping it back to the educational piece with that next generation of talent is preparing them for what they can face in the industry, whether they're in the kitchen, front of house, wherever it may be. So yeah, we're always looking. In the UK now, we've got about 250 ambassadors.
Wow, that's great.
We've got about 450 worldwide. So it's a global beast now.
So as well as like the ambassador's role is like, obviously you said about going, giving talks, educating. Isn't there practical courses and stuff you can Bird Chef offer as well?
Yeah. So we've got sort of different approaches, again, depending on who it is that wants to make use of them. There's a free online academy for anybody who works in the industry. And that's as simple as signing up for Facebook or Instagram. You go on, enter your details, register, and then it's completely free to access. We then have sort of in-person classroom style courses. So things like mental health first aid, suicide first aid, managing menopause for managers, and a few others as well, which again are sort of like a business to business service that we offer for industry.
Stuff you're not just going to pick up either, like you're
no,
just going to pick that information up as you go along.
No, exactly. And the online academy in particular, you know, it covers bits about mental health, self-help as well, you know, for those who may need to use it. But it covers things like financial well-being, sleep management, and various other bits that sort of just create a healthier life for those who go through the training. And I sort of say to our ambassadors who have to complete the entirety of that online training, is if you only take like 1 or 2 nuggets from it, that's still going to be, you're still going to be better for it, aren't you, by the time you've completed the training. We also offer sort of an EAP service for businesses around the world. Now it's global, so sort of a next level of support where...
Sorry, EAP, just for someone who doesn't know.
Yeah, Employee Assistance Program. Employee Assistance Program. So, yeah, just making sure that we're offering employees more support than they would otherwise get. So, again, as a business out there, if you want to purchase an EAP for your team, our one's the first one that's sort of specifically designed for hospitality, where many others are out there and they're great, but they're not specific to our industry. So maybe don't touch on the sort of touch points that we face day in, day out in our industry. So that's another service that we offer. But obviously, all of that is then underpinned as a non-profit. We need that sort of support. And again, one of the sort of key ways I first got involved was through fundraising and, trying to raise a little bit of money to give to the project. And then hopefully that money is then, well, it is now because I work for the project, so I know where it goes. That money that is raised, those funds that are raised, they're redistributed into the support services, the training, the online academy, and all the other bits that we offer to try and make it a better industry for all.
You've done some mad stuff fundraising, haven't you?
Yeah. I like to think I've done my fair share.
Yeah.
And it's something I encourage my region to do. Just yesterday, as I say, we had I think it was 8 or 9 of us doing a Tough Mudder up near Grantham.
Yeah.
And there were 3 lightning warnings throughout the day. So I think not only you're running through mud and under barbed wire, dunking in ice water, but in the meantime, you're also likely to get hit by lightning, all to help raise awareness and funds. So now we've got some real heroes out there who are doing good work. And yeah, I mean, this time last year, I was walking to Snowdon from Birmingham. So
that's not up the road,
it's a jaunt now.
But again, firstly, I was very lucky to have a 2-week gap where I could do that. And like I say, if it helps raise awareness, helps raise funds. And it was a little bit of a journey of self-discovery on that trip as well. So definitely recommend it to anyone. If you can get outdoors as well, massive advocate of just going for a walk on a lunch break or of a weekend, just go down the canal. We've got more canals than Venice. I don't know if you've heard.
It's come up.
Yeah.
It's come up in conversation.
So therefore, you're never too far away from a canal, are you, in Birmingham? No. So just go.
They're great walks as well, aren't we? We did the tonic.
The walk for well-being.
Oh yeah. I've done that in years gone by.
Yeah.
And that was great. Yeah, it was just a nice walk, and most of it's down the canals.
Yeah. It's a nice walk when the sun's shining.
How was that 2-week walk? Was it?
It was rough the first 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
I set off from Birmingham, and day 1 I probably pushed myself a little bit too hard. Got some really bad blisters, and that they take 2 days, don't they, to sort of calm back down. And I managed to make it to Ironbridge, and then one of the lads drove all the way from his home in Leicestershire to Ironbridge just to drop me a pair of trainers. So shout out to Jacob, because I couldn't have done it without him. He knows that. And then Jacob met up with us at the end to do the summit of Snowdon as well. So it was nice to sort of have him come back and.
You didn't just walk to Snowdon, the place. You then got there and went up the mountain itself.
Oh no, we one further than that. So we went right out to the coast, and then on the day of the summit, we did a coast sea to summit sort of journey from the coast right the way up Snowdon and down again.
Wow.
So yeah. And then we had a beer at the end, which was the most well-deserved beer of my life.
I think it probably was. Yeah.
Is there anything coming up that people can support?
Yeah, well, I mean, September this year, it's probably going to be too late by the time the podcast is out. But every year we have sort of a key challenge. So last year was that Sea to Summit challenge.
Yeah.
This year in September, it's Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
So next year, who knows? Maybe Everest. I don't know.
Are you doing Kilimanjaro? You're not...
I'm not, unfortunately. No, not this year. Not this year. Just time off work and so on. But a few of us will be going. So it'll be all over socials, no doubt.
Wow.
But yeah, throughout any sort of given year, we have our own challenges. So for this year, we've highlighted the sort of Tough Mudder series to get as many people involved in them as we can. the ultra challenge series as well. So we've had ambassadors and supporters completing 100k ultras, 50k ultras as well. And these are things that will keep going as we sort of progress on. We do bike rides as well each year, sort of London to Brighton bike ride, the main organised one that's on every year. We have a few places for that for those who might like cycling. And the thing, like, even if it's something that isn't on our website, one of our challenges that we sort of set for those who want to join us, you can go on and make your own donation pages. So like the challenge I did when I walked from Birmingham to Snowdon, just create a page and do fundraising throughout that. And then the main challenge obviously was a different page again. And we've partnered with a company called Raw Adventures. So what they'll do is if you've got a business with like 15 or 20 staff and you want to do a fundraiser, but you're not really too sure what you want to do, is we can put them in touch with you and they'll look at age, fitness levels, geography, previous experience, and so on, and almost like custom make you a fundraising challenge for you to do as a team. So it sort of gets everybody involved, everybody sort of geared up for it and excited about it, at the same time as boosting your team morale and raising funds for a good cause. So that's something we could look to do for anyone who might be interested.
Is the whole Burnt Chef project funded through fundraisers?
Yeah, so every year we release an impact report. So it will show the funds that we've raised throughout the year and then how we've redistributed them. But we're a complete non-profit CIC. So not a charity, which means we don't get access to as many grants as charities do.
I was going to say, do you get any grants?
Yeah, so we rely an awful lot on our fundraisers and supporters, which is great. You know, from an authenticity perspective, it keeps us real, I guess, and relatable for a lot of people that we speak to. But yeah, it just means that we rely an awful lot on those supporters.
How has it gone down with like restaurant owners and like people who own businesses in the industry and like management in the industry? Have they been, because we feel like there's been a big change in the last kind of 5-6 years, maybe a bit more. Does that mean they have took it on board and there's more, like as soon as they hear of you, like, this is fantastic, how do we get involved, or have you felt pushback? Or
I think like anything in life, like you're going to get some people that engage with it and some people that don't.
Yeah.
What I will say is if there's genuine lived culture within a business that comes from the very top and they try to do the right thing, it is very easy to sort of implement a mental health strategy in your business. And that side of things is a lot more prevalent now than it was, say, 5 or 10 years ago, where you speak to industry leaders and they get mental health and they get sustainability and they get non-meat foods, whether that's veganism or vegetarianism.
Yeah.
And so I think there's, not to say that it's just a trend, I think we have to be careful of that, where it's the next thing that everybody wants to jump onto. But there's definitely a change in how receptive business leaders are to talking about mental health. But I also think there's an element of that comes from the team themselves. And again, if you've got individuals within a team who are really passionate about mental health, then they want to go and do a fundraiser or they want to look at training for the team, is actually sometimes that passion from within a team can manage upwards, and therefore the business leader, while they might not understand or it might not be something that's a priority for them, if it's a priority for the team, then all of a sudden it's something they'll look at. So I think not just an industry, but I suppose as a nation, as a movement, mental health is spoken about now more than it ever was before, which is great for us. It's great for those who are in crisis, but there's still an awful long way to go until we're sort of satisfied with air now. I think there's still a lot of resistance a lot of the time to want to even have a conversation around mental health.
Yeah.
And so looking at things then like mental health first aiders, is it a tick box or is it something that you really genuinely believe in to make sure that you're protecting your team? And I think that just comes with time, with education. And again, part of that sort of educating industry professionals that are coming through into the industry or still in college is knowing what good looks like and being able to respectfully challenge if they see something that isn't quite right, and also influence what sort of mechanisms could we have in a workplace to make sure that workplace is safe. I forget the statistic, but there's a stat out there which is not every business has a stress risk assessment, despite it being law that you're supposed to have one. And so if there's businesses out there that don't have that in place, how can we possibly hope that they've got every other mechanism in place to protect their team? So that's something that, again, through the project, through posts online, through awareness, presence at trade shows, and everything else that we do, is educating the industry alongside the governing bodies such as the Drinks Trust for alcohol awareness, and various other ones as well.
If there was someone watching this now that a lot of our viewers are hospitality, if there was someone who is struggling, what would you advise them to start off with to help themselves?
I think the first thing is, you'll have heard this a lot, but just talk. And I don't necessarily mean to our crisis line. That's what it's there for. And if anybody is in mental health crisis, they can text Burnt Chef to 85258 and they'll get a response straight away from a trained therapist. So there's that service out there. But I suppose when I'm out doing our talks and when I just speak to people in the industry, when I'm not Burnt Chef, is you guys obviously work together week in, week out, right? And neither of you are a trained therapist, but actually you're probably the best people for each of you to talk to if you're ever facing a crisis. So it's not always about getting professional help, but it's out there if you need it. But the biggest hurdle that anyone has to overcome is being able to talk to someone if they have an issue. And that someone could be the person on the pass next to them. It could be the person stood on the next reception desk along from them. It could be family members or friends. Or it could be a doctor or a trained therapist, because they don't want those people to know that they are struggling. So find who that person is that you can confide in without any judgment. And I think that's a big thing is, our tagline is fuck stigma, because we don't want people to feel like there's a stigma attached with talking. No one out there that I know of has ever said, and sat down and had a serious conversation around mental health and said, I'm really struggling here and I don't really know what to do, has ever been ridiculed by the person opposite them. I know that it happens out there in certain scenarios and names might be thrown out, but I think, again, we're in a place now where the culture around that is changing. And if that does happen again, there should be mechanisms in place where we call out that sort of unacceptable behaviour and get people the support that they should have.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's as simple as, in the staff room having like posters with numbers. It's like you said, not just in this industry, like nationwide now, it seems to be more talked about. There's a lot more help out there. You've got the text messaging service, Shout. You send them a text. You don't want to talk to someone, you can just text someone. But it's just having that information in the staff room just for them to see and have a look at.
And there's other resources out there as well. I mean, we've got posters exactly for that reason, which are free resources on the website that anyone can download. If they want them in proper sort of card, we can get those delivered out to them as well.
And it doesn't have to be the manager who's sorting
this.
Not
Not at all.
Anyone can just say, I'm going to sign up for this and get it into our staff room.
We've got a young ambassador. I think she's only around 20 years old. And over the last sort of 2 years, she's implemented that now in 3 businesses where she's gone in as a young professional, knows of the project. She obviously sings about our work as an ambassador, and she's printed off the resources and stuck it everywhere to the point that now those businesses are still working with us and looking at training and fundraising, burgers and all manner of things. But then there's other resources as well. So yes, there's the posters you can put up with the helpline and, asking people to talk and things like that. But we also have like an end of service checklist. So regardless of which department you're in, you stick it on the back of the staff door or the door that you leave the building from. And it's just got a few things on there that you check. So one is what didn't go so well today. Leave it at the door. Don't carry it forward with you. Another one might be check in with a colleague or tell a colleague they've done a great job today. What's something that you did well today? Hold on to that feeling of, you nailed that and take that forward with you. So there's other, and that's just one example. There's a few more resources on there as well that, like you say, put them up in the staff room. And if one person reads it and resonates with it, it could be the start of that, change in a poor culture or making sure that you get that training in or whatever it might be that ultimately supports so many other people within that business.
I love that. It's like, you know, you have your close down checklist, don't you, for the bar or the kitchen, and you just added a few of them inside into that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all very regimented and strict. I know it has to be, but if there was just like, good job, you've done a good job today at the bottom, you know, you'd be like, oh yeah.
And we all know what it's like, right? It's like you said earlier on, you have a terrible shift, and some people thrive off it, some people don't. If you're that sort of leader, or even just a senior colleague who's looking at the youngster on the pass, and you think, you know what, today's been a grind. It's just saying, mate, you were amazing today.
Yeah. That
goes from like feeling like, oh, I don't want to come back tomorrow, to wow, like I can't wait to work for that guy again tomorrow. Even when we're in the trenches, like we proper dug in, we smashed out those orders, and it'll be that service, like my burger that I burnt. It'll be that service in 30 years' time that he looks back on and goes, that was either the making or the breaking of me.
Because we started the podcast talking about how amazing this industry, and it is. You know, we've had some amazing people on here who've traveled the world, worked every country going.
Yeah.
We always talk about Sonal, going over the desert in a hot air balloon, drinking champagne.
Yeah.
It's an amazing industry, but it is tough. But if we can make it a little bit easier, and make it, you know, just a bit more welcoming, then I think it would be a lot better. Is there anything Burnt Chef are doing? Like, we've talked about what they're doing in businesses, but like on the back end, like lobbying, like government or?
Yeah, like Chris, our founder's very often at trade shows and seminars. He obviously goes along as a keynote speaker to many of these things. And yes, there are sort of white papers that we create as well. So putting together all the statistics that we have access to, the white papers that we help create with the likes of Bournemouth University to support the sort of movement around mental health in our industry, that then periodically will get put in front of government. Just want to touch on as well about the you just mentioned there about sort of how strict certain checklists need to be. And I sort of raised an example, which is we have audits, right, in our industry. So one is your health and safety audit. Another one might be your food safety audit, NSF, the EHO, like all of these different people who come into our business, finance auditors for your finance team. And we have absolutely nothing that comes in audits what we do around mental health or well-being in the workplace. So we've recently developed a certification now. So businesses out there can apply for it. We'll go in, not us ourselves, but partners will go in and almost assess where your business is with the well-being approach to your team, which I think is something our industry is crying out for, in the sense that if you were an applicant for a new role, let's say comic chef, and you had two businesses and you weren't sure which one to go for, is if this business has that well-being certification saying we do everything the way that things should be done, and the other business has absolutely nothing, which one are you more likely to go for? And therefore, the businesses that treat their team well and do things the right way, longer term will ultimately get the better applicants, the better caliber of staff coming into their business for the right reasons. So that's something else that we offer.
Was there anything else you wanted to bring up before we kind of get onto the questions?
No, I just think, like, whenever I do any talks around mental health and when people ask me about the Burnt Chef, naturally it's going to sort of gravitate towards the struggles that people face and the support we offer because of that, and then needing support from others to be able to still offer that, and so on. But like you say, this industry is an amazing industry. And I was saying just yesterday about the sort of stories that we can have in the industry about, like, you would never get them in any other walk of life. And I had a sort of example of that, which is walking in on Mike Tyson in his boxer shorts, not his boxing shorts, his boxer shorts. And he was kind of like walked out of the suite bedroom. He was like, "What are you doing with my bag?" I was like, "Mr. Tyson, I was asked to come up here and put these bags on the concierge trolley, honest I was." And he just giggled and walked back into the bathroom. And I sort of, like, whenever I talk about all the struggles that we have and everything else like that, just think, like, aside from being a professional footballer, there's no other sort of stories like that you get in any other industry, and being able to meet the people that you can meet.
People are
so it is
unpredictable.
amazing.
That's what it is. And when you're working with people all the time, public, colleagues, you just never know what you're gonna get. Like some mad stuff. I remember working in that local boozer again, and it was like a Tuesday afternoon, and Tuesdays they're always dead in pubs, aren't they?
Yeah.
And this guy walks in, like he was huge, because I remember it was quite dark, and we had the only light source was through the front doors, and all of a sudden, do you know when you're cleaning, you can just feel it go dark, and you knew somebody big had just come in, and it just, I was like, oh god, this guy just, all right, mate, and he didn't acknowledge me at all, and he just walked straight to the pool table, single-handedly flipped the pool table, rip off his shirt, and say, right, this boozer was full of ad. Who wants some? And I'm like, there's like 3 old guys watching the horse race.
We sent the play.
On Press It, we had the, do you know the button for the police?
Press it.
But it's that kind of industry. You just don't know. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I always laugh. Do you know the Stevie Graham? I know. Obviously, we haven't talked about the influence of like the Bear and Gordon Ramsay effect and stuff like that. But I thought, Boiling Point, as stressful it was, it did bring back that trauma of, I don't think there's any other industry where you feel bad for having a day off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have a day off and you're kind of dreading going back, because you know as soon as you walk back in, someone's going to have a list of what you left behind, like when you broke up the night before. And you don't, I work in construction now, and I finish on a Friday, and I don't have Mondays off now to do the podcast. And I'm not worried about going in tomorrow and getting a list. Yeah. Why didn't you do this? And they're like, oh, that was last week. Don't worry about it. It's gone.
Yeah, it's already gone. Yeah, I think like particularly post-COVID, it's been tougher to hand over and have the sort of team structure in place where you can have that peace of mind when you're in days off. I remember pre-COVID, I suppose it depends on how confident you are in your team members to be able to deliver that in your absence, whatever it might be. And then secondly is, as a culture, how do you recruit those people into your business? How do you train them? What's their induction like? To make sure that, if not right now, longer term, 3 or 4 months down the line, it's not always going to be this way.
I should definitely caveat that with I think that was more of a reflection of the place I was working.
Yeah.
It was very toxic. It was.
Yeah.
It was the same for all of us. We were trying to outdo each other. We were fighting, not physically, arguing all the time, but we kind of ran on that higher kind of, and the manager kept us up there on purpose, I think, a little bit. I mean, I'm good friends with my manager from there now, and I see him all the time, and we do laugh about it, and we're like, how did we ever do that? We put up with it for so long, and we shouldn't have, and we now know it's not the way it should be run.
Yeah. I think, like, again, TV shows in one way are great because they shine a light on the issue.
Yeah.
But I know like Boiling Point, there's some of us that are like, that's great because it shows the real struggle that chefs are facing and the reason why the Burnt Chef Project and other organisations exist to try and tackle that issue. But equally, you get so many people saying, oh, I'm never going to go and work in a kitchen because, and actually it's not always like that.
No.
There's some times where it's absolutely brilliant to work in the kitchen, even if it's absolutely slammed. It's the best environment in the world if things go the way they should.
I mean, I worked at that toxic place for like 2 years, so it couldn't have been all bad.
It's not
I still
all
have
bad,
fun memories, when it was good, we had our moments where it was fun, and we became friends and stuff, but like,
I think there's this natural cycle that most of it, not all of us, but most of us go through as well, where you go, I've had my time in this role at this place. I'm definitely one of those where I sort of know I've done my time there and that's okay, achieve what we could, and you move on. Where some people will spend 25 years there, probably still moan about the culture or whatever might be going on. Well, you've been here for 25 years, it can't all be bad.
You do kind of miss it though, don't you? Like, I miss it sometimes, I do.
Yeah.
I think that's why we do the podcast, in all honesty. It's a great way of kind of keeping a toe in the industry without having to do any of the hard work. Or stress.
Well, I've recently come to this role, sort of working from home 2 or 3 days a week and sort of wanting to get back out there the other two. Maybe not necessarily into the operation, but still going and seeing people in the industry and listening to those stories and seeing what challenges they're facing, offering advice. Because when you go from working 40, 50, 60 hours a week to working from home. It's like a big culture shock. And there's like all the benefits of, you know, time with the family and weekends off, whatever it might be. But that's something you've never experienced before. So you don't really know. I've got Saturday off, but now I've actually got no plans because no one's ever thought to ask me out on a Saturday before, you know.
And you realise that everybody's got Saturday off, so anywhere you want to go, it's really busy.
Oh,
so when I used to have Wednesdays off, I could do what I wanted because it was all quiet everywhere.
Remember I used to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, so I'd get Monday and Tuesday off.
Yeah.
All right, where we go? Monday. You get to Monday, like everyone's like, "Oh, I'm back at work now." And you're like,
Yeah.
missed everything.
So before we move on to Carl's questions, I just want to say thanks for doing this. And
That's all right.
Thanks for what you do as an ambassador for Burnt Chef. And thanks to Burnt Chef for what they do as well. You know, I said before we started recording, I think I've been a fan of the project for a long time. Started off with Chris Hall's podcast. Loved that. And I'm just amazed. I'm just really thankful that you're about and doing what you're doing.
That's it.
I wish there was something like this when I was in the industry, but better late than never.
Yeah. Look, we came along when we came along, and it, you know, thank you for the sort of endorsement of the work that we're doing. And I think there's so many other people out there who say similar stuff where they say, you know, it's about time we had something like this, and it's great to see what we're doing, how we support the industry, and long may it continue, you know. And if people out there want to become an ambassador or just support our work, please get in touch and see how we can work together.
Awesome. Matt, ready for Carl's never quick fire question?
Not to offend anyone in Birmingham now.
What's your favourite dish that you cook at home?
It goes with the seasons. In the sort of winter, I love doing like chicken strips with buffalo sauce, but proper homemade, done well. But at the moment, I've got like a real thing for doing like a prawn linguine with like lemon and garlic going through.
Yes.
It's like banging. I had it in Tampa years ago. I forget the name of the restaurant, but it's like an Italian restaurant that we went to. And I made it like perfect replica of that dish probably for the first time 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we've had it twice a week, every week since. So like I've nailed it now. I've got that recipe down to a T.
What's your favourite restaurant in Birmingham?
Probably 670 grams.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, like I've known Craig for a couple of years now, and went there for the first time not long after he opened in sort of COVID, off the back of COVID. And I just really like the way it's sort of unapologetically him. Like, doesn't try to be anything else. Doesn't try and even replicate where he's been, because I know obviously he's worked at Man Behind the Curtain in Leeds, which is also quite quirky. But yeah, just loved it. I remember we had like a braised beef cheek, but he braised it in cherry aid. And I was like, what? cherry aid braised beef cheek. So yeah, and I just like the music and the venue, and in fact it's in Digbeth, not like in the sort of smarter streets of town, one would say. And yeah, just really like it there.
Does feel like him, if you know him, it feels like that restaurant.
Oh yeah, like perfect representation of who he is, yeah. And Sasha obviously recently stepped up, hasn't she, to head chef as well. So fair play to them both.
Yeah, it's a great show. What's your favourite bar or pub?
I'm going to try and not go mainstream because I love Albert Schloss. But I think...
Oh, that's a great answer.
Everyone loves Albert Schloss because it's just such a, you know, regardless of what sort of background you're from or what music you like, it's just a banging night out, isn't it?
I think a lot of people forget about that place is how inclusive it is and how it's welcoming for all different types of people.
Yeah. And you can go in there at any time of the day. Like, you can go in and have a quiet one, or you can go in and be part of like the umpa sessions and properly get involved on the tables and stuff like that. So, no, it's whenever the lad that, like my mate who lives in the States, whenever he's back, we always go there because, you know, it's just something that we're all going to enjoy.
Well, judging by Birmingham on a night out, it seems to be everyone's favourite place.
There you go.
It's the only place I think of with a queue.
Yeah, that's serious.
Like 100 metres down the road.
Yeah.
You can walk out of dish room straight into the queue, can't you? On a Friday, Saturday night.
When we went on the press trip up to Manchester.
Yeah.
Before we came to Birmingham, and the owner, a really nice guy, and he's like, "So what do you reckon, boys? It's going to be like this, that?" Because it was rammed on a Tuesday night. Queue out, going to be like this in Birmingham, and we were like,
maybe.
People don't really queue in Birmingham, mate, for anything. And we couldn't have been more wrong, thankfully. Like, it is chocker all the time.
So every time you walk past this, if it's an evening anyway, there's always a queue, isn't there?
Yeah.
It just goes to show how popular it is.
It's done a good job. I think it's a great place.
Yeah.
What's your favourite curry place?
I think Asher's is like peak gastronomy because you get like all of these fine dining restaurants, and we're blessed, aren't we, in the Midlands to have a few to choose from. I've been around the world and eaten many a curry. None are as good as Asher's. And I just think like there's a reason why these celebs keep coming over, and every time they're over, they go in there. I just think it's banging. I don't know which curry I'd order from there. If I could afford it, I'd do the president's platter with the lobster and everything else.
I've seen that come out a few times. I thought, oh, I'd love to order that one day.
Yeah, Tony Elvin bought it for me once. We went out on like a hotel GM's night out, and he ordered it just for the table. Yeah, it was incredible. But yeah, I just think again, like you can take anyone there, even if they don't like curry, they'll find something they want to, and it'll be a good experience.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ash. I think it's really nice.
I had the biryani at the food festival the other day.
Yeah, you
so
did,
good.
Yeah.
And it's like it's also like the service. Every time you go, it's like they'll welcome you for the first time, isn't it? Which sometimes that can get a little bit lax. If you've been a few times, they know who you are. They're like, oh, you're right, yeah, come sit down. And it just detracts from the experience. But every single time you go into Ashes, it's like they're welcoming you as like a new person. Yes.
What's your favourite sort of more budget end restaurant?
Love Bonehead. I love Brewdog. Brewdog's wings. I don't know, there's something about Brewdog's wings. But also like Tortilla and places like that. Just somewhere where you can just get in, get your food, and get out.
Have you tried Charlie's Chicken in Coleshill? Is it Coleshill? Wateraughton?
No. No, I've heard about it though. Yeah, I've heard it. Somebody's actually asked me to go and do like a bit of a write-up through Chubby Brummie, and I had to tell her I don't do it anymore. You'll have to go.
Send him our way.
It's always got a massive queue though on a Saturday and stuff.
Have you been to the Bull's Head in, is it Forlongley? It's out that way, past Shustoke. But they've got like an American themed sort of kitchen takeover there. It's incredible. And their burgers are like, you've got a thing for burgers.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere you want to eat that you haven't got to yet?
A theme is the one for us. We were booked in there that summer of COVID, and obviously got cancelled out. And then we looked to rebook. They were full, so we ended up going to Simpsons. Now he's got his extra star, so now it's too expensive. So I think like one day, if we come into a bit of money, it'll be the first place. Well, my wife will tell us it's the first place we'll go to eat. So yeah, bucket list stuff, that one.
What's your favourite breakfast spot?
Dishoom. You just mentioned Dishoom, but honestly, as a breakfast, the bacon sandwich and a naan, and it's got like cream cheese and the salsa and chili jam, and you think it shouldn't work. It's like unreal.
Yeah, it's got no business being that good, has it?
No.
Someone told you that before you had it. I remember when we were going down the press trip for Dishoom, and they said this week have for breakfast. And I was like,
a naan bread for breakfast.
Are you sure about this? All right, fair enough.
For my construction job, we went to Rossborough Awards down in London.
Yeah.
And like they partied hard, I don't drink, but they partied hard. And they were all like, they knew I'd do the podcast. They're like, right, you're sorting breakfast. Make sure. And I felt massive pressure. I was like, right, where's our hotel? Right, it's by so I'm taking them to Dishoom.
Yeah.
And they gathered up. They're like, where we going? I was like, follow me. And they haven't been to the one in Birmingham yet. They're not real big foodies. And we got there and we were walking through, and like you can still smell like the Indian spice and stuff. And they're all like, Liam, we want proper like bacon and sausage and stuff. I was like, don't worry, you're gonna love it. And they were like, are you sure? Like, I'm dying. I'm like, sure. And then I just said, we don't need menus. I said, just give us like 10 breakfast naans and unlimited chai. And she came. The lads were like, they took in. They're like, wow.
Yeah.
They were like, that's amazing.
That's it. And like,
go all the time.
I mean, the food looks good when it comes out, but it's like when you eat it, you're like, wow.
It
like,
goes up a notch. Them beans, man. Them masala beans.
Yeah.
I ordered a few of them as well. But I just like, I don't want them to see the menu and read it, because then they'll be like, oh, I don't like cottage cheese, or I don't like this. Or, I was like, they just need to experience as it comes.
Just give us 12 of this.
And let them try it as it is.
And lastly, what's the best restaurant you've been to anywhere in the whole world?
I had a few for this. I love Black Swan and Roots by Tommy Banks.
Yeah.
So one up in Oldstead and one in the centre of York. But we, my wife and I have eaten at a restaurant at Mandarin Oriental at Central Park twice called Aria. And then like the view overlooks Central Park of a night time with all the lights lit up, and like it's just amazing. and the food is still like world-class food. There's also a great place called Holbeck Gill up in the Lake District, and I had a mushroom cappuccino once, which I don't drink coffee, so I was like, has he got coffee in? They just served it in a cappuccino cup, but I was really young at the time, so I didn't really quite understand like fine dining as I do now. But it was just, incredible. Again, the views out the back of the restaurant overlook Lake Windermere, with the sun going down, and like it was just,
it's a special place in the Lake District. I love the Lake District.
Everyone raves about, like, obviously rightly so, San Sebastian and stuff. Like, it's a hub of food, but like, you think how much good food there is up at the Lake District.
Yeah, and they're all really passionate about local produce as well, because it's sort of out in the middle of nowhere. They really make use of local producers, which I do think adds into the finished product that we obviously end up eating. So
awesome, that's us.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Matt, thank you.
No, thank you for having me.
Appreciate this, mate.
No, I really appreciate you having me.